Hey everybody, welcome to another exciting issue of Nerds Unlimited, hosted here at the North of Nerdy Studios. I am everyone's favorite intergalactic sex demon, Sonic MTD, joined of course by my brother from another mother, AJ, and unfortunately, Trevor cannot be here. And the reason why is tonight we are sponsored by Electronic Arts. And in order to hold Electronic Arts core values and principles and associate it and integrate it with North of Nerdy, Trevor is locked behind a paywall, which we cannot afford because he is day one DLC. But don't worry, next week we should be able to afford him. Maybe.
Didn't you buy the special edition though, that it's supposed to come with?
I'm a musician, goddammit. I don't have funds.
Oh, I got the special edition. I guess maybe I didn't Oh wait, you're right. It's not unlocked yet because they still have a timeline aside from that, and then they're okay, I got you.
This is Electronic Arts we're talking about.
Yeah.
Challenge everything, even your faith in the company.
Yep.
On that note today, I started off really bleak and dark today, didn't I? But we've got a lot of great stuff to talk to you about, a lot of Marvel, a lot of DC stuff, and everything that is in between. The first thing that I believe is on our docket is, of course, Shazam!
Shazam! Yeah, Shazam?
Yeah, it's what was written, DC Shazam casting, or did Trevor throw that in here?
Oh, yeah, you know what? They have that new guy that just got casted from My Name is Chuck.
Okay.
Have you ever seen that series?
I know My Name is Earl.
Yeah, they have, or is it, no, My Name is Chuck, or is it, I think it's just Chuck. I don't know.
There's a show called Chuck, and then there's another one called My Name is Earl, in which a redneck sort of hobo guy wins the lottery.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of, no, it's not that one. No, it's definitely not that one, but I'm not a big fan of the casting for it. Shazam casting, they casted this guy who, to me, doesn't really look the part, right? And I'm just trying to find the new cast here. So he, like I said, he doesn't really look the part. I liked how they made a lot of the fan casting for it, because the fan casting looked more the part than anything else. But yeah, I don't know. I guess you haven't had a chance to check the picture yourself. I
have not. The thing that I know about comic books, especially things involving DC and Marvel, is the continuity is a little wonky.
A little wonky to say.
I'm trying to be as best I possibly can as I wear my Justice League uniform jacket. Yeah. But when it comes to Shazam, there's Shazam, and then there's like another guy called Black Adam, who basically has the same powers but is a different interpretation of Shazam.
Zachary Levi.
Okay.
That's the guy who they cast as Shazam.
Okay.
So I'm not a big fan of. Like, I've seen him in a couple other series. He was in, like I said, the show Chuck, right? Where he plays like a government super spy kind of thing that's more like just a computer geek.
Okay,
working in a tech store.
The question I'm going to ask then, so who would you like to be playing Shazam if you had casting decision? Because I'm curious.
If I had casting decision for Shazam, it would definitely be this guy right here. I'm going to pull him up. This guy here looks more the part. Unfortunately, does not look like... this is a fan casting they made for him. So you have this guy.
Is that Michael Fassbender?
No, I can't remember the guy's name. There we go. There's a better casting for him.
I don't know who that actor is.
Yeah, they had somebody fan casted this guy here, and like I said, he's a really, really good look of the character, but no, they went with somebody else.
So the audience can't really see your phone, so I have no clue who the actor is. You don't know who the actor is. So allow me to play devil's advocate here. When it comes to playing a character who basically is a young child in the body of like this immortal god type thing, do you think the comedic aspects that went into Chuck might work with this actor?
See, don't get me wrong, the actor's gonna be a great actor. Zachary Levi, don't get me wrong, he's an awesome actor. I enjoyed him as an actor. I've seen him in a couple of others. I saw him in Heroes when he came back for Rebirth, or he came into Rebirth. I loved him as a character there. You can see him in a more serious role. When you saw him in Chuck, he was more of a funny character, right? Don't get me wrong, the role is gonna be played well. He's a good actor who can play the role well. I just don't think he looks the part. That's all. Like, I'm sure they'll find a way to make him look the part, so forth and so on, but it is what it is. But moving forward, it's not a big deal. They might change the casting now anyway. It's later on anyways. Nothing has actually started in regards to filming yet. So, but yeah.
Moving on, so our layout is going to be a little bit different than we normally do. We've got a lot of gaming news for you as of this episode, and the first thing that was on the docket, which I did not write, but obviously is huge, is the release of Assassin's Creed Origins.
Yes.
You played any of the games?
I've played a crap ton of the Assassin's Creed games. I really like the storylines that they tend to kind of throw yourself into. I think one of the other things I like a lot of the historical references they play on. Right. For Assassin's Creed Origins, I haven't had a chance to touch it. I'm hoping that we don't have a lot of problems like that we've had in the past with some of the release games on the new next-gen consoles. But I absolutely loved Assassin's Creed 1, 2, 3, Brotherhood, Revelations, Black Flag, played a little bit of Unity, didn't mind it. Right, it does get a little repetitive. Don't get me wrong.
It gets extremely repetitive.
Yeah.
So the thing is before joining North of Nerdy, I was part of Pixel's Edge, which was run by my good buddy Fat32, otherwise known as Tom Hope, who is a huge Assassin's Creed fan. So much so that he has the Assassin's logo tattooed on his forearm. Yeah. He usually does like 24-hour live streams whenever the games go live because Ubisoft knows that he was a big Twitch live streamer back in the day. And every single time the game comes out, he's always head over heels for it. But as someone who stayed playing up until Syndicate, I have grown incredibly tired of it. And usually the concepts that are staying within the game, so usually stuff that hasn't been built from the ground up, are usually the stuff that I have a problem with, such as the long collecting periods, climbing miscellaneous towers to get your eagle vision going. I walked into Assassin's Creed wanting a amazing stealth adventure game, something that would make me feel badass as an assassin, very akin to, say, Thief the Dark Project or even Dishonored if given the chance, but still I'm not getting that awesome pat on the back feel from being smarter than everyone else. I
do get that, especially now, because like when you continue to build, it's just the same game layered, and it's just like they just clean up the graphics, add a new small slight to the storyline. Like the first 4 games, you're pretty much playing the same character, right? And he's just aging. So you're like, okay, cool. At least there's some continuity in the storyline. And then you get to the next portion where you start going to like Black Flag, and then you go further on. You're like, okay, if this guy's gone, who's taking the role? Now we're doing a new person who happens to share the same bloodline. I don't know how I feel about that. Now we're a giant company now. That's okay. I'm confused. What's going on here? Right? So
personally, I don't think Ubisoft had the long run in their minds when it came to Assassin's Creed. I don't think they were expecting it to be, let's create a new one every year. Don't they create a new one every year? Or is
pretty much. Every year I see a new one, because they're on like... It's been out for almost 8 years now, actually.
I don't. They didn't seem like the people that usually have the long con that is viewed, but they're trying their best.
I feel like we're grasping at straws with that game, though.
Yeah.
Like you're watching, you play the first little bit, and then you follow Ezio or Damien. I think is the guy's name is.
No.
The guy who is in the Animus.
This is gonna bug me now.
Anyways, you follow him and
Desmond Miles.
Desmond, thank you. Yes. So you follow Desmond, and then you get to the point where he dies.
Yes.
And then you're just like, okay, all right. Now where do we go? And then they throw another person in the mix, and you're like, okay, he's not really significant because Desmond was even more significant. The man went through you went Altair, then Ezio Auditore for 3 games.
Well, when it comes to the Assassin's Creed franchise, Desmond Miles, his entire storyline arc up to this point had been he's training to become an assassin.
Yeah.
He's starting to learn. You had this great part where you're climbing up this giant modern futuristic building, and it's like, okay, obviously this is training him to become the future protagonist, and then they just kill him off.
Come off. Yeah, exactly. That's
And-
I feel
yeah.
you on that one because I'm like, you're following that character and you're learning. They're teaching him to become an assassin to take
Yeah.
down the Templars, and you're like, okay, cool. I can see the next game is probably going to be a future version, and as opposed to us going back in time all
Yeah,
the time.
and that would have been cool.
That would have been sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for.
It's
and then he just
pretty much-
dropped it out from under us, and,
And
we're
it's
like,
not
no more.
it's not even like Call of Duty, because Call of Duty, for example, when you play the single player campaign, you're basically in the eyes of a grunt who does eventually
Mm-hmm.
get killed off, and then you see the outcome of the battle from like another person's perspective,
Yep.
which is perfectly fine and dandy. But we have been growing to get to know Desmond Miles.
Exactly.
These seeds have been planted for him to
Exactly.
be much more than what he is, and it just they pulled the rug out from under us. One last thing that I do want to talk about, especially with Assassin's Creed. So I don't really know about how Assassin's Creed Origins has, but isn't it kind of funny that you basically work for a game developing studio in Black Flag to the point where it's like, yeah, the game developing studio are the bad guys. Ubisoft.
Yeah.
We're not secretly Templars, or are we?
Or are we? Yeah, and I love how it was like set based in Montreal too.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. I was like, oh, that's a future Montreal. I like this. Looking down as you're like as the character, you're just looking down at the city. You're like, oh, I can see this in about 20 years. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
I like it.
So finally moving down the line, so we've got an awesome new trailer for Overwatch that came out.
Yes.
Did you watch it?
Okay, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. BlizzCon was this weekend, or is
Yes,
this weekend?
is this weekend.
So that's one of the reasons why they gave us such beautiful content. There's so much Heroes of the Storm stuff. There's so much, Overwatch stuff. I've seen pictures online that show a whole bunch of different characters that could be possibly for the future for Overwatch, which was just made me just cream my pants because I was so excited for it. I was like, oh my god, this is beautiful. More Overwatch content, yes. But for honor and for glory. So beautiful, so heartfelt.
I've said this a couple times on the chat, and I even mentioned it before the show was going, but the people over at Blizzard have an amazing job of playing with our emotions
Right?
as we're watching it. And I'm sitting there going, do not cry. Do not cry. They cannot have you. Ah, crap, I'm crying.
Yeah.
It didn't hit me as hard as with May's backstory. The one they had for her.
Maze was hurt.
Oh yeah, so
hard.
much. But Reinhardt's story is great. It adds an entire new depth of backstory of pathos, and as well as just basic empathy towards his struggle, why he keeps picking up the gauntlet every single time, despite the fact that he is becoming a older member. Also, another thing that I do want to talk about, which is Overwatch related. So you mentioned as well, BlizzCon is going on, but not only is BlizzCon going on, but 2017's Overwatch World Cup is currently underway as teams from around the world go compete head to head and prove who is going to be the top dog for this year. Now, I will always hold Canada close in my heart. I'm biased as crap. But the important thing that is to note is people that are in the World Tournament have World Tournament skins that represent their country of origin, their country of choice.
That's pretty cool.
They are predicting that those exact costumes will become available, and they aren't going to be like a one-time thing. You will be able to put the coins in and get them from loot box drops and from spending your currency in such in-game sometime after the end of this year is when the predicted time is. And
I just hope I get that Reinhardt skin though.
Oh yeah?
If you guys haven't checked out, I know we're gonna stop back just quickly here for Honor and Glory. It's a story of young Reinhardt, not old Reinhardt, young Reinhardt. So you get to see him with some beautiful golden locks and his all that piss and vigor of I will take everyone out, aha! Like it's great, you'll love it. So, but I hope they bring that as a skin. I'm cool with everybody else, but I would like that skin too.
I will say, as someone who mains Anna Amari, which is a support character, they have a early skin for her when she was younger. They're probably going to have one for Reinhardt. They're probably going to have, well, no, they already have one for Jack Morrison. They even have one for Gabriel Reyes. Reinhardt expected in the future.
That'd be good. speaking of support characters, Overwatch has just released a new video of one of their new characters that's coming out. Her name is Moira. She is a geneticist that used to work for Overwatch, but unfortunately got kicked out of Overwatch. If you watch her origin story, it explains that she eventually started working for Blackwatch. Interesting enough, in her origin story, you see a picture, or at least a little still, of her working with Reaper before he became, beautiful Dracula, dark and gloomy.
So back when he was still Gabriel Reyes.
Exactly.
Before becoming the Reaper.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. I think she's the person who developed his technology that Hay has in him that allows him to do that, the shadow walk, or the weird poof of smoke thing that he does, and because she has abilities such as she's able to do like a teleportation thing that's kind of similar to his. She has a healing orb that looks like it could heal up to 3 different people at the same time. She also has like a life sucking ability as well that's purple. So you have your yellow orb, which is your heal, and your purple that is blood sucking kind of thing.
Sort of like a reverse Zenyatta.
Exactly. Legit, her pose. You know how Zenyatta has that pose where he's kind of like this? Yeah. She has that as her pose, and 2 orbs are like that, the purple and the yellow.
I wonder how adding Moira, because I don't know if she was around with the original concepts of the game or if it was just something that's going to implement. I wonder how her inclusion of the game will change at least some of the dialogue options, or at least change how the story is slowly unfolding. Because one of the theories that I had was both Soldier 76 and Reaper died in an explosion that wiped out both of them. They were brought back to life by Mercy.
I heard about that theory.
And there's a dialogue option where Mercy's talking to Reaper before the match. She goes, what the hell happened to you? And Reaper just looks at her and goes, "You tell me, Doc." And I'm sitting there looking at it going, well, maybe there was a complication through Mercy working through it. And now that Moira's entering the picture, I'm sitting there going, this is screwing up my headcanon.
Well, what if she was able to revive him, but not revive him completely, and he was always still off kilter? So when he makes that comment, you tell me, Doc, it's more like, you didn't fix me like you thought you could. I had Moira fix me. Is that could be a little...
That could be a nice little switch.
Yeah. Because they have a way of evolving it every single time. Like we got all these new characters that introduce, and we have a good way how they evolve the characters, and I love that. That's one thing I love about Overwatch. So
we will see how it goes. In the meantime, I am still enjoying my legendary Ana skin.
From Halloween update?
Had to sneak that in there, yes. The moment November 1st hit, I'm like, I gotta buy it now. Yeah. Moving down the line, so we are talking about Super Mario Odyssey, with reports talking about how it's basically become the fastest selling game in Europe and America.
Good. That's really good.
And I had a image which I guess, oh, there it is. It's showing up on the screen. But one of the things that I believe is, as video games are becoming more accessible. The old souls that basically have it where, it's just stuff for kids, they forget that video games were originally marketed back in the 70s and 80s as things for the entire family to enjoy.
Yep.
And then it wasn't until the gaming fall of the late 80s came around that they had to rebrand, do it for kids, an entire new generation grows up. I went to school for journalism. Entire generation grows up, and it now becomes nomenclature where it's insane if you don't have someone playing video games in a household.
Yeah, it is.
Both males and females. And if you don't believe that there's girl gamers, check yourself.
Yeah.
I
do believe like the market has definitely changed, where nowadays like it's become harder having a son to find a game that we both can enjoy just as equally, right? There's games out there that I'll play with him, and it's just like, it's okay, but I would like for him to play the more mature rated games that are out there, because they're just more engaging, they're more fun, in my perspective, and I know he would just as much enjoy it. Only downside is it may be too graphic, or it may have swearing in it, or it may just not be quite the type of game I want to expose him to, because of the content.
What might be a good way, so once again, I'm divulging off, but playing the game beforehand and then making the conscious decision as to whether or not this is a game that you would beat that would make sense. And not just to leave the video game. So once again, if you're going to buy an M-rated game, sit down with your child while you're playing through the game. Offer them context. Offer them a way to understand that, yes, this is incredibly graphic, but you wouldn't be doing this in real life. You would, there are ramifications for your actions and being there. Because if you're just going to be passive and just say, here's Mortal Kombat, and then your child grows up to be a sociopath, that's on you.
Yeah. But what I was saying is more so my segue back into Super Mario Odyssey is that brings back the core content of me and my younger brother being able to play Mario and Luigi, right? Like, I don't think there's other characters you can unlock in the game to play, but it's still such a fun game that it's constantly, first off, there's so much happening in the game that it's just, you're just not playing just Mario. You're playing Mario in so many different levels. Like, you have, like Trevor said, a pimped out Bowser, right? Trying to save Peach. Yep, it's a similar storyline. You're always trying to save Princess Peach. Yep, cool, great. But at the same time, you have a crazy magic hat that you can transform yourself into almost anything that you can think of, or at least for the game. Right?
I'm always cynical when they implement these new gameplay changing little things. It's not that I don't trust it, but it's because of years of Sonic the Hedgehog games.
Yeah.
And some of them were actually pretty damn good. Like, pick up Sonic Colors, play it again. But sorry. But I'm always going to be a little bit cynical towards these new things if you're just doing it to test it out or if it actually adds depth to the actual gameplay.
Well, I like it because it changes Mario completely now. Now Mario's not just your typical plumber. You know what I mean?
Well, he's no longer a plumber.
This is
Do you
true.
remember that story?
Yeah, we remember that story.
What is his profession now? Besides swimsuit model?
I don't even remember. I would say a swimsuit model was the last one I saw, right?
Yeah.
So he's constantly changing, so it's great. But
He's like Madonna.
Speaking of more gameplay of two things. Mario and Luigi, we got The Last of Us 2 trailer.
Yes. So The Last of Us 2 by Naughty Dog. I am a huge fan of the original series. Now, when the game originally came out, I did not think at all about it. For me, it just seemed like a clone of, say, I Am Legend. But what stood out for me was, it's done by the same people who did Uncharted. Nice. So there is that nice depth between third-person action and platforming segments. Nice. There is some crafting features that were thrown in, and actually a semi-decent multiplayer experience.
That's
like
cool.
A lot of people never gave it a shot, but the multiplayer was actually like really interesting for a good long while if you wanted something different from Call of Duty. But the best way to describe The Last of Us. So, do you know anything about the game at all?
I'm not a big. I'm not
because you were pure Xbox, so you never had the ability to give The Last of Us a shot when it came out.
Yeah,
on the PS3.
that's true. That's true.
So what eventually happened? So in The Last of Us, the world is basically torn asunder as a result of a viral infection called cordyceps. When inhaled or injected into a unwilling participant, it causes a viral infection which basically turns them into zombies. As it gestates, as the years come on, they show different ranges of what exactly they will be. So the first infection, which say about like anywhere between like 24 to 48 hours around that time, is your typical like 48 hours zombie, right?
Okay.
And then it eventually progresses to the point where the fungal bacteria has basically encapsulated all of their head and they can no longer see. And they become clickers. And they basically detect via echolocation. So at that point, then it becomes a stealth thing where you have to be as quiet as you possibly can. Sneak
So
up.
very much like I Am Legend.
Yeah.
Very
and
much,
then,
pretty much that whole type of
and then
idea is pretty much in a video game.
and then its final form, because that's pretty much the last before it can stop moving, is very akin to, say, a boomer from Left 4 Dead.
Okay.
So it's pretty much a mix of that, and the first game, the importance of it was how harrowing the morality of the system has been. So your character, so you're playing as this old character named Joel who ended up losing his daughter at the beginning of the game and stumbles onto Ellie, who looks a lot like Ellen Page, disturbingly a lot like Ellen Page. And because he lost his daughter, he sees another chance to basically raise this girl as his own. And he's trying to get this girl to a group called the Fireflies, who are able to help take care of everything. They're sort of the last bastions in this insane world. And Joel's decision, I cried long and hard. It was something that made me think twice about morality in gaming, and it made me think of things that I didn't think was possible, because normally video games are just very straight-laced. This is a good decision, this is a bad decision. This one goes completely off the rails, toys with your emotions, and then goes, there is no right decision.
Yeah. Those games are the best. Those games are the best. And that makes you just think everything in life afterwards. You're just like, I appreciate this game so much more. And it wasn't until I picked up Square Enix Life is Strange that I came across a very similar morality decision. And just like in Last of Us, I cried long and hard. And it is on the internet for live streaming. There we go. Speaking of live stream, actually, if you guys check out the page, he was live streaming earlier this week. Yes. What game were you live streaming? So I was playing The Evil Within, the very first one. And the reason why is because I know I'm eventually going to be playing the second one. I don't think it's going to be something that I'm going to review. I just picked up the copy today, actually. I picked it up from Square One Mall in Mississauga. Nice. And I wanted, since I knew I was going to be playing the second one, I needed to get caught up. I needed to see what was going on. Good call. And I'm enjoying myself so far. Mm-hmm. There's definitely a lot of things that Shinji Mikami, the person who directed this game, the first game, and was responsible for Resident Evil, there's a lot of his calling cards. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of winks and nods to Resident Evil. But that being said, it doesn't really take me out of the experience that much. Mm-hmm. So we will see, but I'm thinking of possibly getting back into live streaming, maybe on a Thursday nights when I've got nothing better to do. Ew. That'd be a good idea. Tune in. And I'd be more than willing to ask if North of Nerdy might want to do any type of live streaming as well. Maybe we can do stuff like that on That'd be a good idea, yeah. A day of the week when we're not busy. For sure. So going forward though, so I've been seeing probably this past week, because of the CW shows, have been putting a lot of nods to, I guess, some anime culture. Yes. A lot of the comic book websites I've been looking at as of lately have really been paying attention more so towards how an anime or live action show of One Piece could be in play. Now, which we have talked about before. We have, and it's been coming up more and more now. Yeah. So it looks like this could be something we could be seeing sometime in the future, being how successful certain things have been happening off of the CW shows. Well, now, I'll have to call those points, I have to find those examples exactly to look into the research for it, but just personally, I'm in the middle of the anime right now. I'm about 500 episodes in out of 811 episodes, probably 812 as of tonight, right? The anime is done in such a way that personally, I would like it just to stay in anime, because you'd have to have so much CGI. It would be pretty much you'd have to get Warner Brothers to do the series, right? There's so much CGI there's so much craziness that happens in One Piece for each character. There are people that just turn into smoke. There are people that freaking turn into giant beasts. Obviously, the main character has a giant elastic ability on all his entire body, right? There's a girl who basically blossoms she can blossom any one of her body parts into they blossom like flowers. Mm-hmm. So and you have a talking reindeer, how are we going to be able to do something like this? I just personally don't think it would be possible for them to be able to do that. I actually think when it comes to the insanity that is anime adaptations, normally the only way that you can go is it's usually a pure Japan thing. They have a before it hit Netflix, they had a live action adaptation
of Death Note.
Yep.
They also had
Which I heard was terrible.
It wasn't half bad, despite the fact that Danny California was like basically the only theme that I heard throughout the course of that movie. There was also, I believe, one for Attack on Titan.
I heard it didn't do as well either, but I heard it was like, I saw some of the, like I watched the first maybe 10, 15 minutes of it. It wasn't too bad, right? As far as their CGI goes, like one thing with Japan is that they tend to do their stuff decent. It's just, again, following the storyline, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, I mean, once again, anime live action adaptations are happening left, right, and center in Japan. I did an anime review for a show called Silver Spoon, and there, while I was doing research for that review, there was a live action adaptation. I don't know if it's good, but if there was a director who I believe should be able to pull off the live action. The absurdity is probably going to be director Stephen Chow, who is known famously for a movie called Kung Fu Hustle, which is like 8 pounds of crazy in a 2-pound bag.
I love Stephen Chow. Stephen Chow is one of my favorite martial artists, directors, actors, right, from Japan. He has directed and acted in movies such as from Bangkok with Love, Beijing with Love, Fight Back to School 1, 2, and 3, their Kung Fu Hustle. I just absolutely love him. He's such a fun character actor. He's extremely. You're right. The absurdity of Kung Fu Hustle would be perfect for him to play
for doing One Piece, but we don't have him as the director. And once again, I don't want to be cynical. I don't want to be someone who's very pessimistic. I want to see this succeed. I want to see this go forward.
Yeah.
I just don't know how North American audiences are going to react to something like this, and I don't know how it's going to be interpreted as well. So we're going to have to sit and wait. And in the meantime, let me tell you a story all about how my daughter got lost in the Upside Down. Yes, we are talking about Stranger Things 2.
That was a good segue. I like that. You were sitting on that the whole time, eh?
That one unfortunately wasn't my creation, but I was sitting there and I'm like, I have to implement this. I just gotta wait for the right moment. Stranger Things 2 is out on Netflix.
Yep.
And how do we feel about it?
I love it. I have one final episode to watch.
Okay.
But there's a lot of good callbacks to a lot of like 80s things in that show. You would love it because Sean Austin, I believe, he was the secondary character in Lord of the Rings with Frodo, I think it was, or no. He's also in Goonies.
Okay.
Right? So there's a scene in one of the episodes where they're looking at this giant map, and then he's like, oh, X marks your spot. Was there a treasure over there? And I was like, Goonies reference. Right? But like they do a lot of play on a lot of 80s, like early or late 80s things in there. Like the one thing I love is the hairstyles. They got like the coiffed hair going up, like it's awesome.
The entire vibe that I got from the original Stranger Things, which again I haven't fully watched yet, was there was definitely like an 80s, almost a E.T. the extraterrestrial kind of vibe to it, mixes with Stephen King and Lovecraftian horror.
It pays a lot of homage to that stuff, and it does it in great taste. Like in this entire series I've been watching, I love how like down to the wrapper of a chocolate bar is from the 80s. Like the Three Musketeers, instead of it being like silver, it's all white and says Three Musketeers written across it, right? The Dr. Pepper can isn't like your normal can we have now. It's like literally just like a cylinder with a Dr. Pepper wrapper around it, right? Like they found a way to make sure that we feel like we are watching something that happened in the 80s. Like it's a greatly told story, greatly told. Anyways, it's a well done story, right? That everybody should watch. Like I said, it's you got your sci-fi horror, more like sci-fi thriller, more than anything else, But greatest things is these kids, man. These kids that are in the series, like they are phenomenal actors. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say like I hope these guys really succeed past this and they continue to see them grow, right? Because they're great.
Now I don't know anything about the second season. I haven't watched any of the first. I will get into it. Save your hate for another day. I promise. I promise. But the one thing that I have heard from production wise is that these kids are gonna swear. These kids are.
Do they ever?
Yeah.
The one dude with the 2 missing teeth from the first season, I love him.
Yeah.
He just doesn't give a damn.
Yeah.
He shows up at this guy's house and he's just like, are you aware that your phone has been off the hook for the last 2 hours? And the guy who owns, like the father of one of the children is like, yes, I'm well aware that my wife has been on the phone for the last 2 hours. He's like, oh, okay, great. Where's your son? And he's just like, hey, where's our kid? She says where it is. Okay. What about your daughter? Da, 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 da. That's where she is. And he's like, okay, sweet. You're actually effing useless to the father. And the father's like, hey, language. He's like, whatever.
Yeah.
And just mucks off. Because he's just telling the truth.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, I came here. Your phone's like, how is your phone? But how you went on the phone for 2 hours? Like, come on. I'm frustrated. I'm trying to get a hold of someone and I can't even get a hold of you. What the hell, right?
Just wait till Stranger Things enters the mid 90s.
Right?
Yes.
So it's good. But I noticed we got this What Are We Reading thing going on here. What's
Yes. So on What Are We Reading, normally we have comic books and things like that. The last episode, I gave my history of Sonic the Hedgehog over to Trevor, which you better not be destroying, or so help me God. I will shave your beard and make you eat it, watermelon face. Watermelon! What I'm reading right now is the oral history of The Daily Show, the book, which is basically, it's interesting. It's done by Chris Smith, and it's a biography. It's a biography of the entire show from the time where Craig Kilborn was the original host when Jon Stewart took over, and then turned it into the political powerhouse that it came to be. How they sort of rose to power, mistakes that were made, as well as passing the torch off to Trevor Noah. And the interesting thing about this is that normally, when it comes to biographies, there's monologues talking about the course of events. All this entire book, pretty much from like stem to stern, is filled to the brim with just quotes from people who are recollecting what it was like. So you have people like, say, Larry Wilmore, Jon Stewart, Ben Carlin, who's one of the executive writers, Steve Bordeaux. You had like every single person that had something to do with the show that was still on relatively decent talking terms gives their 2 cents, and it talks a lot about the show in general. And I'm enjoying it so far. And I hope that I will be smiling from ear to ear when I get to the end of it. And maybe I can use some of the tips and lessons that were in this book towards this show for North of Nerdy, and maybe seeing if we can grow as insane as they did theirs.
I would not be too surprised if this guy starts quoting quotes from the book anytime soon, because I can just see it happening. I feel like he's itching to say a few already.
You know,
it's gonna happen.
there's a lot that I can use, but once again, it's all about setup and delivery.
Yep.
If there's no window, if there's no opportunity to say it, then don't say it.
Fair enough. Back into anime news. Actually, I forgot a couple segments that I haven't added, but I started watching. Remember, I was telling you there was a Shonen Jump has the big 3 right now.
Yes.
Right. So the big 3 are One Piece, My Hero Academia, and Black Clover. Right. Black Clover. I just started watching. They released a couple episodes on Funimation that are dubbed now, so I was able to watch it with me and my son. Watched the first episode. I enjoyed it. It just, you know what? It's Kelly. It's pretty much the exact same storyline of My Hero Academia. So you might like it, maybe. I have to see how the music is, because I know the music was what got you into My Hero.
One of the things that I say it almost every single time we talk about anime and mainstream anime in on itself is filled with so many different subgenres, different shows and things like that. If you are not finding something to your liking, it is advised that you jump off the beaten path, and who knows, you might find something that you're pleasantly surprised and enjoying.
And speaking of which, So my girlfriend just got me into Your Lie in April.
Okay.
Wow. We're talking about all those heartstrings being plucked in all of our Overwatch stuff. Have you ever watched Your Lie in April?
No, I haven't.
Oh, whew,
Pitch me the show.
whew. It plucks your strings very well. So it's about this guy who basically is a fantastic young, I guess, genius pianist, right? He ends up failing one of his contests at the beginning of the series, but it leads into more of a storyline that it shows him still kind of like, he still likes to listen to the music, he writes the music, he doesn't play, and he has his friends that are constantly trying to bring him back into the fold, right? So it's a lot of back and forth that you get, but then you have a lot of these introduction of certain characters that just literally just toy with you a bit more. They make you fall in love with the character, that you're just like, oh my gosh, I like this character, I like her, I like him. And you can see the small nuances or the small subtleties in regards to like what they like about this character, or what that person likes to this person, that person to this person. But the greatest thing I love about this show, it is a love story, but it doesn't, from what I've been told, it doesn't have, I haven't finished it yet, but it doesn't have the happy love story ending you expect. But the one girl basically says in one of the episodes, when you fall in love with somebody, the world is, or before you fall in love with somebody, the world is just black and white. And then when you fall in love with somebody, you'll know, because then you'll start to see color. Right?
That's beautiful.
Right?
That's deep. I
right?
like that. Yeah.
Like I was like, oh damn, I like it. Like it was really well done. And then you could see, like, again, like, you gotta watch it because it's really cute, right? But it's like a slice of life, which I haven't really watched a lot of slice of life kind of stuff, right? But like, it's nice. And the great thing is, it's just all the type of, like, the main character obviously is a pianist. Then you have this secondary character who is the main heroine, I guess you'd say. She's a violinist, right? And she just goes in on one episode that you're just like captivated by her movements and the sound of what comes out of it.
Once again, I wanna sit down with like either you or Trevor and just go through some of the anime that I have on my backlog, like stuff that I know that you guys would absolutely love that you just haven't heard of, and I want to basically blow your mind. I want to show you some amazing shows that you might not have given the chance, that either were big or just are big outside of the mainstream.
Yeah.
Like, you still haven't, if I say, for example, Black Lagoon.
Black Lagoon, still haven't watched it yet. That's because I have devoted all of my anime time, to be honest with you, into One Piece.
Okay.
Like, I haven't touched anything else. I still have like 7 different series that I was kind of touching that I've kind of put in the back burner just to catch up on One Piece. And then I'd be like, once I catch up on One Piece, I can take a little bit of reprieve and then just
I want to show you like a wide variety of things, such as, say, Eden of the East and Mirai Nikki, which is Future Diaries, which is a fantastic manga.
Yeah.
Either way, I've run out of things to talk about, and I think we're at that point of the show where we're at the end, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
So I want to briefly pitch my own show, which is, of course, called Always Write Reviews. Now that we are in November, it's no longer October. I got to get my ass back to work, ladies and gentlemen. I've spent the past few days working on a awesome review. I don't think it's going to be up by this month. I think I realized that after the 8th episode, that these episodes were killing me because I just work a full-time job, and the only way I would be able to get those hours is if either A, I had a production team, which I don't, or B, if I didn't work a full-time job. Yeah. So the episodes will come out. To those that are fans of the series, I am going to do it with the same amount of precision and the same amount of quality that you all know and love, and hopefully you guys will be able to understand that's one of the reasons why I can't get the videos done on time. But either way, let's get into the advertising for our portions. Oh,
just before we go, I want to actually give a quick special shout out to one of our old hosts on our previous show, Nearly Nerdy. Josh, congratulations on your engagement, by the way. Really, really happy for you, buddy. I wish you all the best, man. Just gotta say, congratulations and thank you for your time when you were here. Awesome. Woo! I feel like I totally fudged that up. It sounds better.
I feel like I should have joined you in the ceremonial fist bump.
I know, right? Fist bump.
But
yeah, congratulations.
So, as we are getting to the end of this show, my name is Sonic MTD, and I'm available on Twitter. I'm available on YouTube. I'm available on Twitch. I'm available everywhere. Just go into Google and type in Sonic MTD, which is capital S, small O, small N, small I, small C, capital M, capital T, capital D, and I've got some stuff that you are absolutely going to love when I am not shit posting.
Yes. Actually, I really like his review on the that naked game that you played. I rewatched it the other day and I was like, this is mad. This is actually pretty funny. I like his stuff.
So I might need to put some parentheses in that. It was the naked game he's referring to is a game that was called Occupus Strip Undead and Undressed, which came out for the PS3 and is also available on the PS4. It's a fantastic game, but it was a PS Vita game that is primarily...
Watch the review. Yeah. Watch the review. He goes into detail about all of that stuff.
I go above and beyond the Call of Duty. But now that we have promoted my stuff, did you know that North of Nerdy is available under Twitter, under Instagram, under Facebook, under Twitch, under YouTube, you name it. Just type in North of Nerdy and Nerds Unlimited and you will find everything that you need to get you through your boring onslaught of a workday fighting against your dreaded fiend, your dreaded foe, the mundane. And now that we have gotten through all of that promo stuff, I would like to say once again, thank you so much for watching this. And I am Sonic MTD, and I'm joined, of course, by
AJ.
And we would like to say thank you for watching, and
later days. Thank you very much, guys, for checking out this awesome issue of Nerds Unlimited. If you guys want to check out our last show, it'll be up here. If you want to subscribe, click that link right there. And then, if you want to see what this beautiful bastard's up to lately, right over here. But better yet, if you want to see us every Thursday, 7:30, the link will be right here.